So how did I get an Hermes bag in Paris without getting a leather appointment? I have already unboxed this bag for you. I know that a lot of people, when you're watching the unboxings, don't care about the story time and just want to see the goodies and the eye candy and what's in the box. So we've already done that, and I did tell you in that video, if you were interested in how I managed to get that bag in Paris, that I would do a follow-up video and share the story time with you. If you've been watching along on my Paris series of videos, I was very recently in Paris for 5 nights with the handbag tribe. When we were there, we all, I think, or most of us, tried to get Hermes leather appointments. So generally, if you want to buy an Hermes bag, any leather bag, a man's bag, obviously a quota bag, a Birkin, a Kelly, a Constance, I think some places call them quota bags, or if you want to get a garden party, an Evelyn, Mini Lindy, any of the leather bags, you have to have a leather appointment. It's not just the big main quota bags or the Birkins or the Kellys that you need the appointment for, it's any bag. And they're not easy to get. So when we were in Paris, we were told that there are approximately 5,000 applications for an appointment, for a leather appointment, in that lottery system per day. And across the city, across the 3 stores, there are approximately 100 appointments. That's an awful lot of people not getting the email telling them that they've got the appointment, and that was us. So whenever we were there, I certainly applied every single day. Bestie was with me for 3 nights. Deb was there. I know most people applied for an appointment each day. I have been in Paris, fortunately enough, over the last number of years, once or twice a year. And when I've been there, at times there has been myself and 1 other person. At times there's been myself and 9 other people, myself and 5 other people. And each time I have been there, we have all tried to get appointments. And each time, none of us have got a leather appointment. So if you go to Paris and that is your intention, or you're hoping to get lucky on the Paris lottery system, just bear that in mind, that it is really, really difficult. I think it used to be a little bit easier. I don't think it used to be quite as popular. It was never easy, but I don't think it was ever as difficult as it is now. And just bear that in mind. So what you do if you're applying for a leather appointment is you go on to the website, there's a link to apply, you apply during the day, you put in all of your details, you put your passport number in, you verify your email, and then you will get an email back from them confirming that they have received your request. But it tells you that they get a huge amount of appointments requests every single day. Not many people are going to get them, and you will get an email between 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Paris time that night telling you if you've got an appointment for the next day. And they don't open on a Sunday, so you're not getting an appointment on a Sunday. If you apply on the Saturday, it's for the Monday. Did that, didn't get an appointment any of the days that I tried. So whenever we were there though, I also wanted to try and get some other things from Hermes, mainly this. I love the leather jewellery from Hermes. I also have the H Click Clacks. I have the Kelly Turn one, I think it's called. I have a number of the pieces of Hermes fashion jewellery. I love it. And I know you'll see lots of videos saying don't spend your money on fashion jewellery, it's a waste of money. It's not a waste of money for me because I wear one of these practically every day. I probably wear these, no probably about it, Amelia, call it what it is. I wear these a lot more than my fine jewellery. I love them. So I wanted to try and get these. I also wanted to have a look at the Constance wallet and the wallet to go. I'm not very good with Hermes proper names, but there's a Constance longer wallet and there's a tiny little wallet. I wanted to have a look at those as well, and a few other things, pieces of fashion jewellery and things like that. So we went to Hermes on St. Honoré, which is the flagship store, the biggest store, and that's the store that you will have seen in my vlogs. There is also a store off the Champs-Élysées called George V, and there is also a store across the river over where Bon Marché is, and it is the Sèvres store, I think it's called. There are 3 of them in the city. And the appointment system works for them all if you're going to get a bag. I had already been in the flagship store with Bestie, and I had been trying to get fashion jewellery. He had been trying to get fashion jewellery. He was looking at ties because the man's obsessed with ties. He has so many beautiful ties. Looking at lots of different things. All of the things we were looking at, we couldn't buy. They had lots of ties, but he already owns a lot of ties. So they didn't have ties they didn't have. They didn't have fashion jewellery in the sizes that fit us. So for me, I am a T3. the T2 fits, which is the smaller one, but it's tight. I don't like it tight, I like it to move, so I need the T3 in it. And they had basically none. I think they had a pink one, but I already have a pink one. They had very, very little of them. So we had tried that day to get the pieces, and we had also went to the concierge. There is a concierge at the bottom of the stairs in the Flagship store that you can go and ask if they have a cancellation. And I'm laughing because there is a queue at this desk. And the poor person stood on the desk is just going, no, sorry, fully booked. No, sorry, fully booked. No, sorry, fully booked. They must say that 100 times a minute. Slight exaggeration, but a lot. There's a huge amount of people waiting to say, have you gotten any appointments, any cancellations? No, no, no. They did say to one of us at one point, come back late in the day to see whether or not there's been anybody that hasn't turned up, but that obviously didn't work either. And there's so many people in the store trying to get cancellations, trying to get appointments. I think the chances of it are quite slim. When we were there, we did see some very rude people. We saw people at the concierge basically saying, I am not leaving here without a bag. I want a Kelly. This is my last day in Paris. I want to get a bag. I need an appointment today. This is my last day in Paris. I have tried every day. I want a bag. It was very, very rude. And it kind of took myself and I think Bestie I was with at one point and Deb from Wild Unfiltered at one point aback a bit, because the people were just so rude and so demanding and were basically saying, I want an appointment now, I want a Kelly, I want a bag, I'm not leaving without it. Well, sorry, we don't have an appointment for you. And it was quite abrupt the way the conversation was going. They were quite rude. Anyway, we did not do that because that's not in our nature, and no, that's never going to happen. But we did go try and get the leather jewellery. Deb and I then went back the day that Bestie went home. So we had said goodbye to him on the morning. We then went and got coffee and had a breakfast, had a lovely time having a chat, and then we thought we'll just walk up to Hermes and try our luck. Deb, whenever you are registering, and this is obviously Deb from Wild Unfiltered, when you're registering for the appointment system, the link wasn't working for her. So she was trying to go onto the website, register, put in her details, and it kept coming back saying no, basically. Computer says no, and she couldn't register. So we went up to ask how she could actually register for the appointment, as well as to see if they had any cancellations. So we stood at the queue for the concierge and we asked, firstly, have you got any cancellations? No, shocker, we don't. The person the day before had been very nice about it and said, no, not at the moment, not today, but keep trying. This person was just like, no. But I would be like, no, if I was getting shouted at too, now that my son has been sorted out. So they were very rude about it, but just no. They did give Deb the iPad where she could apply for the appointment that wasn't working on the system whenever she was trying it on her phone. So she did do that, filled in all of her details and applied for the appointment. And then we handed it back and said, thank you very much. We then went to see what of the other things, if they'd got any more stock. I was looking still for these types of bracelets. I love these. I would have them in every colour. I was also still looking to see the Constance wallet to see if they'd got any of those in, and I still wanted to see about some other bracelets. So we went firstly to the wallet stand, which is behind the concierge on the Flagship store, in the Flagship store, sorry. And we asked about the Constance Slim or Constance to go. I'm probably not getting that right, but we asked about that and they said, no, one of them, or was it the Kelly Cut or the Kelly Pochette? We asked about those as well. And we were told that for some of the ones that we were asking about, you needed to have a leather appointment. So that's probably some of the Kellys and maybe the longer Constance. You couldn't get those without the appointment. You could see the little small Constance wallet that's about this size. It can go on your belt. And they did have a couple of those to look at. I don't think I have any photographs of it, but we looked at one of those. There was one in a very beautiful, bright, orangey type colour, and I was very, very tempted by it. I think from memory, it was in and around €2,500, I think, somewhere around that. But it doesn't fit a phone, obviously, because it's a little small card wallet, but it's very, very pretty. And I did have on, and this I think is relevant later in this story, I did have on my Hermes Mini Kelly. And when I wear my Hermes Mini Kelly, I wear it with the chain strap that comes with my Mini Lady Dior, which is over in that corner. And it's just a chain with the black at the top. And I wear that across me because the strap that came with this for me is far too short. Crossbody don't like it. So I had the chain of that on. I took the chain of it off this and tried on the Constance wallet and put it crossbody. It looked really cool. The colour of it sat really well. Thought it looked really, really cool. Then I thought, am I just getting caught up in the fact that we are in Hermes in Paris? I'd already bought the Fendi sequin baguette that you can see over here. Had I bought the Gucci? I must have, because Bessie had left. I'd bought the Gucci shorts that I've already showed you. I'd bought the sunglasses. What else had I bought? I'd bought something else. Yes, I definitely had bought something else, but the belt that I'm wearing. I had bought the Dior belt that's on me. I'd bought that as well. So I was looking at all of these things and thinking, am I just getting caught up in the fact that I'm in Hermes in Paris, that this is here, it's available, and the colour was very fab. It was a very bright pop. And I don't think I would wear it through my belt. I would maybe wear it through my belt if it had fit my phone. If I was going to a concert or something, I probably would have. But without it fitting my phone, I can just put my cards in my pocket. I don't have a problem with that. And crossbody, it looked cool, but I just thought, I don't know when you're going to use this. This is something that looks great, but it's £2,500 sterling, no, euro, I think, and I don't know when you're going to wear it. So I don't think that's the best use of funds. And as much as I would love to believe it, money is not unlimited, and I do have to make some sensible choices whenever we're looking at all of this sort of stuff. So we ended up leaving those, but we did ask about two of the other wallet type bags, Constance and Kelly, and both times we were told, no, can't look at those, you need an appointment. Great. So we walked off then to the fashion jewellery, and we were standing over at the fashion jewellery, and a man came over and said to us, are you okay? Would you like some help? Yes, please. We're looking for some pieces of fashion jewellery, and they brought a sales associate to us who was lovely. It was only Deb and I there at this time, got on very well with this sales assistant. He was good crack. He was having a laugh. He was having a bit of fun with us, and it was an enjoyable experience. We were asking for the bracelets that I was looking for, and he didn't have any of them still in a T3, which is my size. I was also looking at the wraparound one, which I think is called the Mini Kelly bracelet. I was looking at some other things. Deb also was looking at bracelets and was asking for earrings and asking for different things. And the vast majority of what we were looking for, he didn't have. So we were laughing and joking with him and saying, you won't take our money. We want to buy things, but we can't give you any money. There's nothing for you to sell us. It's almost as bad as trying to get a bag in this place. Like we know the bags are hard, but we can't even get jewellery. And he was laughing and going, I know it's crazy. Getting bags appointments at the minute is absolutely crazy. There are so many people applying. There's no appointments. We're getting people shouting. We're getting people coming in every day. And we had said, yeah, we saw some of that over there. Quite rude, quite unnecessary. And he's like, you think that's a tip of the iceberg? We're getting that a lot. And I had on my Mini Kelly, and I think Deb had on her Evelyn. She did. She had on her Hermes Evelyn at the time. He looked at this and he said to me, oh, I see you've got the Mini Kelly. He said, you get offered one of those and you're taking one of those, aren't you? And I was like, oh, absolutely. And he said to me, I take it you would have taken any colour in that. And I said to him, well, I'm a colour lover, so I didn't really want the neutral. If they'd offered me a neutral, I would have taken it because I'm so obsessed with the Mini Kelly, but for me a colour was much, much better, which probably helped my chances because more people are looking for neutrals, are looking for blacks, are looking for a taupe, colours like that, or gold, and I wanted just something bright. This would not be everybody's colour, but I love it, and I actually get so much wear out of this. I had this on Friday. I love this bag. So, and I explained to him, he asked me where I got it, if I got it from store. I explained I got it in Dublin, that's where I would shop from. And I explained to him that I was actually on the wish list for 5 years for this, although it did fall over COVID, but 5 years. He was not shocked by that at all. He said in the whole time that he has been there to sell to people on the appointment system that he has seen, there has been 3 times there has been a Mini Kelly available. Now, I'm sure that doesn't include the people that shop in Paris and live in Paris and have their relationships in Paris and their profile in Paris. I'm sure that doesn't include those. But for the lottery system, from what he had seen, obviously there's been more than this, but him personally had seen 3 times somebody could get the Mini Kelly on the lottery system. So he said to me, you're very lucky to get it. And he said, you must have been very patient and with the brand to have got that after all that time. And I said, yes, it worked out. There was a whole story. It seemed to align and I'm delighted with it. Absolutely love it. That was it. We talked about that. Then we were talking about fashion jewellery again. And he said to us, actually, in the last 6 months, the amount of people asking for a Mini Kelly has exploded. He said that's all we hear in the last 6 months. It's all anybody wants and we have so little of them. He then said that their most popular bags that people are asking for are the Mini Kelly at number 1, the Birkin 25 at number 2 and the Kelly 25 at number 3. Deb then said, well, knowing that then, if I was going to be lucky enough to get an appointment, I would actually ask for this type of bag. And she will have a whole video or 2 on her channel, so I'm not going to fill in the blanks, but go and check out Deb at Wild Unfiltered and you will see the rest of that part of the story. Deb said I would actually look for this type of bag. And he went, oh, really? Okay. And then he just carried on talking about the jewellery and looking at what we could get and what we couldn't get and what he didn't have. Deb was able to get one of the things that she was looking for and he went to take her to check out, we thought. And he said to us then, I think you should have a drink. It's time to pay. We've been here for about 45 minutes at this point because we'd been having crack with him and we'd also been over at the wallet stand. Thought, we're about to leave. And he said, no, I think you should have a drink. It's a warm day. I think you should have a drink. So he took us to a little part in menswear that was quite quiet and he sat us down and he said, I think you should have a drink. What would you like? So we each got a Coke and he went away and he said, it's probably going to be about 10 minutes. And we were like, okay, to pay for Deb's thing that she was able to buy. Still not really knowing what was going on. He then said to Deb, do you have a profile here in France, an Hermes profile in France? And Deb said, yes, I do. And he looked it up on the system and he said, oh, I see that you have a profile. And he said to me, if you were looking for a bag, what would the bag be that you would be looking for? And I said to him, well, to be honest with you, if it's not a Mini Kelly or a Birkin, the only other bag that I'm totally in love with from Hermes is the Constance. And I explained to him I just got the Rose Papri one, how much I loved it. I had it with me. And he was like, that's our 4th most popular bag. It goes Mini Kelly, Birkin 25, Kelly 25, Constance. He said, you've no chance. Even with an appointment, it's going to be very difficult to get one of those bags. But with no appointment, you've no chance. And I said to him, well, you know, it's disappointing that I love that bag so much and I'm not going to tell you I'm interested in another bag when I'm not. That's the bag that I would love. And he said, unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. And I thought, okay, but he was lovely about it. We didn't have a leather appointment and it was very enjoyable and he understood we couldn't get any other things we wanted and off he went. So he leaves Deb and I with our drinks and we're drinking and chatting and going, what's going on? Do you think there's a chance he's bringing a box back up here? And we were a bit more optimistic about Deb's bag and the bag that Deb was looking for because he seemed to be a bit more optimistic about that. But he hadn't said to us, I'm away to look for a bag for you. He said, have a drink, sit down, you need a break, it's warm out there, it's sunny, sit down, have a drink. I thought, okay. So the 2 of us are chatting away and we're talking about things and we're just minding our own business in this little corner. And he comes back about 10 minutes later with 2 big orange boxes. And he puts them down and he gives us this big smile and Deb is like, and I'm like, and it was all very, very excited. We were like children on Christmas morning. It was kind of jump up and down energy. It was a lot of fun and it was a lot of energy and very, very happy children in the Hermes store. Now we knew from the boxes that none of the boxes were the bags that I had said, but he'd already told us there was no chance of getting those. So that was fine. He then shows Deb the boxes that he has. He opens the first one and we had asked actually when we were over at the stand for the wallets, we had also asked if they had any Rodeos or Pegasus. because I would love to get one that is the same colour as this to put on this. I would also like to get one in rose pre. Anyway, I would like to get some of those, but they had said no. I think, no, telling you a lie, they showed us one that was a different colour that wouldn't have worked with any of our bags. But he brought up the first bag for Deb with a Pegasus or Rodeo, I can't remember which one, that was exactly the same colour, and it was one of the mono ones, which is what I would love, the one that's all the same colour, but it was in the colour that matched the first bag that he showed. Beautiful. He then opened the second box and Deb just exploded, her face just lit up, and it was amazing. She was just so, you could see the joy and the happiness, and it was just one of those moments. And she was over at the mirror, I'm grinning like an idiot for her, clapping up and down, and just, it was so exciting anyway. Only handbag lovers will get this. I know that, I appreciate that. But she's having a great time, and he then said to her, I also have 2 other options that I could show you. And I'm not giving you the detail because Deb will have videos on this and an unboxing on this. But he said to her, I have 2 other options. So in total, he had 4 bags to show Deb. And this was just like, we didn't even have an appointment. We just got chatting to this guy and happened, I think it was because Deb happened to say the bag that she wanted was one of the bags that wouldn't be as high up that list of the most popular 1, 2, 3 and 4, Mini Kelly, Birkin 25, Kelly 25, Constance. Wasn't one of those bags. And I think that's why he then went to see what he could do. And it did take him a while, he was gone for a while, but I think that's why, because it wasn't one of those very hard to get top bags, but it's still a leather bag, beautiful bag that you need an appointment for. So that's all going on. Deb decides which of the bags that she's choosing. And he said to me again, are you sure there's nothing else that I can look for you? And I said to him, well, actually, if you're down there looking and a Mini Kelly falls on your head or a Constance falls on your head, would you mind bringing it up? Because 1 and 2 for me would probably be Mini Kelly and Constance above Birkin and Kelly 25. And he laughed and he said, I've already told you I can't get those bags. You don't have an appointment. I've already told you that's not going to happen. And I said, oh, I know. I'm messing with you. But those are the bags. I'm not going to ask you to look for anything else because I know I would be taking them just to take them. And I don't want to do that. Those are the bags that I love. And he then went and took Deb away to pay for her bag. Deb then told me that whenever she was paying for the bag, she was saying to him, can you really not go and see if you can find a bag for my friend? Because like I've got one and my friend would love a bag, and wouldn't it be awesome if we both got bags? And he was like, I know, but the bags that she wants are really difficult. And Deb was like, I know, no pressure, but if there was anything that you could do or anything you could look for, it would be great. You know, we'd really, really appreciate it. And I think he could tell that we were actually really appreciative of what he was doing. And he had said to Deb, I know, I can't make any promises though. As they were walking back, there was a lady wearing a Mini Kelly in Rose Papri, which we all know I'm obsessed with. And he laughed and he said to Deb, and this was the relationship we'd built up with him and the crack we were having. He said to Deb, should I just steal that one for her? And Deb was like, yes, do that, steal that one. And that's how it was going. So he came back and he said to me, do you have a profile in Paris? And I said, I do. I think I actually had bought this in Paris, and maybe Bestie's horse's head that Lisa from Luxury and Life in the Middle reminded Bestie in Paris that when I unboxed it, I flung it on the floor. Thanks, Lisa. So yeah, I think I maybe got that in Paris and a few other things. And he looked and he checked, and I do think that was important. He looked and checked that I had a profile in Paris or in France, and he went, oh yes, I see. And he said to me again, I can't make you any promises. I can't, because the bags that you want are so difficult, and they're even difficult in appointments. And I said, I totally appreciate that. You know, if you've anything down there, I would love to see it. But if you don't, we're so grateful for what you've already done for Deb's bag, and we're having a great time. Like, honestly, we're so grateful already. He disappeared for a long time. It was a long time. It was probably about 20 minutes. And Deb and I were Deb kept saying to me, the longer this is taking, the better I think this is. I was kind of going, I don't know what's happening, because you don't want to get excited and you don't want to think that there's a bag coming and then he can't find one, because he was really clear on saying, I can't guarantee you this is really difficult. He then came up the stairs, it must be 20 minutes later, maybe even half an hour, carrying this bag in the way that you would hand somebody their new, not bag, this is a box, Amelia. Okay. Carrying this box in the way that you would hand somebody their newborn child. And he was like, you are so lucky. He looked at Deb and he said, you're very lucky, but you're very, very, very lucky. He said, you are so lucky. And he said, I really, really hope you love this. And I got the impression at that point that he had been fighting to the death downstairs in the storeroom and dueling with somebody to get this bag, to be able to get this bag when it wasn't an appointment. And I'm getting stuck in my words now because it was such a moment. And he did say, I really hope you love this. And he came up and he said to me, I wasn't able to find you a pink one. And I said, that's okay, I have the rose Capri one. And he said, oh, that's right, you have that one. I wasn't able to find you a pink one, but I found this. I hope you love this and it will match your eyes. And I thought at that point, oh my goodness, he's got a blue one. And we all know blue's not my favourite colour. And I love blue, but for bags, it's not my favourite colour. And I thought, oh, I hope that I love this because this man has went to so much effort. I had said to him earlier on when he was going downstairs, he'd asked me what colour, and I said any colour, any bright colour. And he said, what about a pastel? And I said, yeah, a pastel, just not a neutral, not a taupe. And when I said that, he laughed and he said, you're not getting a taupe. And I said, is that how he said a taupe? He said, not a neutral, not like a beige or a gold or any of those sorts of colours, but any colour. And he did say, what about a pastel? And I said, yes, as long as it's not very, very pale. So he comes up with this and he says, I hope you love this. It will match your eyes. And he opened it. And when he opened it, he then lifted out, and I have never seen this colour in real life. When he was saying blue and pastel, I was kind of thinking, oh, is it going to be blue broom? And I know that sounds hugely ungrateful because I know that's a very popular colour, but it's a very, very light baby blue, pale blue. And I was thinking, oh, is it going to be that? But then he lifted out this. And the colour was so bright and so beautiful that and I hope that's getting it right, I thought, I actually love that colour. I love that colour. It's a beautiful colour. Blue normally isn't high up my list, as I've said, and I want to be honest in this video. If I was to be putting down my wish list, which I have in Hermes, I wouldn't be asking for blue, and I didn't ask for blue. But this colour of blue Celeste, I think is stunning. I love how bright it is. And I love how it looks with denim. I have denim on at the moment. Or actually, I'll put in the footage from when I've just unboxed it and tried it on. Goes so well with denim. So he said, I hope you love it. And I put it on and walked over to the mirror. And I did love it. I loved the blue in it. He did say to me, I don't have options for you. So for Deb, he had a number of bags. He had 4. He did say to me, you're so lucky I was able to get this one. I don't have options for you. I didn't need options. I love the colour of this. I would have said yes to this bag in this colour, in a purple, in a green, in an orange, in a yellow. Well, I have this one in yellow, I suppose. But in a yellow, in a pink, more pink, in any colour that had a bit of strength to the colour, I was going to say yes to. So when he showed me this, I jumped up and down, hugged him, probably jumped on the poor man. And I think he could see though that from both Deb and I, we were ecstatic. We were both, there was no shouting and yelling and demanding appointments. There was no, I want a Kelly. There was no, get me a bag. And then when he was able to get the bags he did, I think he could see. We were literally like 2 children in candy shops. We were so excited, so grateful, so just, I can't believe you've done this for us and went out of your way. He did not need to do this at all. Our profiles in France are not huge because we don't shop in France. That's not normally where we are. And he just went out of his way to do a really lovely thing. And we appreciated that so much. And I think that came across. And then he had got this one, he got Deb's one, and it was just such a day. Like we had our Chanel appointment at Rue Cambon after it, and Deb and I were like 2 completely and utterly startled birds. We couldn't even think of anything else. We couldn't talk about anything else. We were standing in Chanel going, we got our Hermes bags. And it just was very kind of, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. I did not for 1 minute think that was going to happen. I text Bestie going, we've got bags in capital letters. And then we had that appointment and I had all these messages from him going, Spill, tell me what's happened. What have you got? What's going on the day I leave? What has happened? What has happened? What has happened? The excitement levels were very, very high. when I then loved this, he was just, I'm so happy you love it. I'm so happy this has worked out. He then took me over to introduce me to the manager. I don't know if the manager just happened to be there whenever I was going to pay. She said to me, have we made you happy? Has this been a good experience? And I said to her, I can't believe it. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. She must, I don't know if she had to sign off or whatever, but she clearly already knew that there was a bag being bought. And then he took me over to pay for the bag and put it into its box. He put no pressure on either of us to buy anything else. Now, he did already know we were trying to buy things that we couldn't buy, but he wasn't then saying to us, now that I've got you those bags, can I show you ready to wear? Can I show you silks? Can I show you shoes? He wasn't putting any pressure on us at all. He wasn't trying to force anything on us. He wasn't trying to upsell. He even said to Deb with the rodeo that she had on the different colour of the bag, no, that doesn't work, don't take that. He was not trying to sell other things, which was amazing. I did wonder when he went to the hassle of this, was he then going to say, you know, oh, what about ready? But he didn't even try, which was just so lovely of him, so genuine, such a great experience. For Hermes, that can be so difficult, and we all talk in videos about how hard it is and how we're done with Hermes and how we're not getting bags and you're not getting offers. This was just, oh my goodness, complete opposite, and just worked. And I don't know how. I think we just got very, very lucky. I think we vibed with the sales associate. I think that he appreciated our humour and how we were being, and we appreciated him, and we were having the crack. I don't know, I think we just got very, very lucky, and we're both very, very grateful and love the bags that we have got. I can't believe this. I am on the waiting list in Dublin for a Birkin 25, but I had said to my SA whenever I got the Mini Kelly and was renewing my wish list, what I would actually love is a Constance. And she said, well, don't use your wish list for those. They're no longer wish list bags. We get them in from time to time, and I will let you know if we get one in a colour. That was in December. This is now September. And I was in Dublin very recently. I will have a shopping vlog to upload, a luxury shopping vlog to share with you from Dublin. And I did ask, have you had any Constance? And she said, no, we've had hardly any. And the most of them haven't been colour. They haven't been colours that you would like. They've been very neutral, but we've had very few of them. So I don't take this for granted at all. This is extremely hard to get, and I'm just so grateful of how it happened. And that is the story, and I can see the timer. This has been a long story, but I wanted to share with you how it had happened as to how we managed to get these Hermes bags without a leather appointment in Paris. And I hope this has been informative, and I hope it's came across the way that we wanted it to, because neither of us, myself or Deb, took it for granted or were expecting it or were thinking that we were entitled to it or thought that this should happen. We were both completely and utterly blown away when it did happen, and still are texting each other going, can you believe we got those bags in Paris? It was a huge deal for us, and it really made it a moment. And that is the story time as to how we got Hermes bags in Paris without an appointment. I hope if you're going, this is helpful. I suppose the biggest thing I have to say though is I think there was a lot of luck involved. I don't think there's any formula to it. I think we just got very, very lucky, and it worked out for us on the day. Thank you so much for watching this story time. If you've enjoyed it or found it in any way informative, if that is even a thing for Hermes, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.